Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Rosa Linda Román. I am so sorry that I'm late. I was convinced that I still had about an hour, 45 more minutes before the broadcast. I'm in a completely different time zone. And because of that, it just completely slipped my mind. It didn't slip my mind. I actually was planning to come and do this book reading, but I planned to do it at 9 o'clock our time. I'm in Spain near Barcelona, living on a boat on a catamaran. But then I was sitting there and I just had this moment. I was playing cards with my kids and my nieces who are visiting from Chicago. And something told me, I said something like, yeah, I've got my live shot in like 50 minutes. And my daughter said, it was supposed to be now. So apologies for being late, but I am here. Here is our new home. And you will see from my face, I'm sweating. It's hot. Our air conditioning is broken. Our engine is not working as it's supposed to. It keeps cutting off. And like if you rev up the RPMs, it just chokes out. So it's been an interesting experience already. I think I've been aboard 2 weeks tomorrow, maybe. Ziva, Nala, and I arrived after Samuel and Nathan. Nathan is my husband. He and my son Samuel took the boat all the way from Gibraltar up here to the Barcelona area. It's been quite an adventure already. We've spent a lot of time working on the boat, boat projects, fixing all of the things that are not working. Hopefully the AC will be fixed soon, but we are just going through it without it. So that's boat life. I still wanted to honor my commitment to show up for these live streams where I share a chapter of my book, Losing Sight of the Shore, How to Live on a Boat Without Killing Your Family. And this was when we were living on a sailing catamaran. Actually, we've lived on 2 sailing catamarans in all the way up and down the east coast of the United States and in the Bahamas. So this is from several years ago, and this chapter that I'm about to read was written when we were living in Texas in, I think it was 2018, after we had moved off the Dawn Treader. So without further ado, let me get started. This is Losing Sight of the Shore, How to Live on a Boat Without Killing Your Family, Chapter 24, Conflict in Close Quarters. As I sit beside we'll just start that again. As I sit beside a campfire on a cattle ranch near Manta, Texas, I want to write for a minute, even though it isn't directly boat related. I want to write because at this moment, I feel joyously happy. This is a bit surprising because I felt exactly the opposite last night when I went to bed. The question I have is why? I think of the eternal factors, which were, I am just discombobulated. My apologies. I'll just keep going. The question I have is why? I think of the external factors, which are where my mind goes first. Last night, the kids were being sassy and unhelpful as the grown-ups cleaned up after Thanksgiving dinner. First, I asked the kids to help clean up since we did all the cooking and setup. Not one of the kids moved a muscle to help in any way. Then, when Nathan and I were beyond exhausted, we asked the kids to help put Samuel to sleep. Instead, they stayed up for hours, totally ignoring us. At one point, when I went to check on them, I found myself yelling at Ahava and Samuel, expressing how angry and disappointed I was. Still, they were not inspired to comply with our go-to-sleep request. By midnight, when Nala started barking at the still awake Ahava, who had come into the main living room for some reason or other, I was seriously steaming mad. The whole weekend here on this Texas ranch, where we have been with our extended family for the holiday, my daughters have been sassing and sighing anytime I ask them to lift the slightest finger to help. And even when I asked nothing of them, if I happened to speak or breathe in their blast radius, they rolled their eyes and were quick to correct me or point out loudly to the world how annoying I was. People have warned me about this pattern and teen years and I tried to remind myself that this too shall pass. But I still went to bed thinking, I am done. I don't want to buy them a bunch of presents for Hanukkah next week or fly to Chicago in a few weeks so they can celebrate Christmas with their cousins. I began planning my boycott partly out of spite, but mostly because in that angry state of mind, I decided that it's all just too much work for me, with nothing but negativity and disappointment as the payoff. Then this morning, I awoke with a different feeling, more hopeful, more tolerant. Part of it was the fact that I had gotten a bit of sleep. Part of it was just that I always try to reset myself each day to focus on the good instead of whatever was bothering me the night before. I know that a fresh perspective always seems to help. To that end, I went for a nice walk with Nathan to talk about how we want to handle this situation. And then we called a family meeting. As I mentioned in a previous chapter, this is one of the most important weapons in my parenting arsenal, at least during those times that I remember to use it. From those family meetings, I'm generally reminded of the same thing again and again. Whether we are in a small space like the boat or a 15,000-acre ranch like we are at the moment, relationships are the hardest thing. They are also the best thing. When I catch myself feeling like a caged tiger again, wanting to run away from the people I am with, I now try to wait until I have calmed myself down enough to think rationally, which may happen by sleeping, eating, or so that I'm not hangry, or going out for a run or other form of exercise. And then I do exactly the opposite of running. As Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg might say, I lean in. I lean into the relationship that makes me want to run. I lean into the situation that makes me uncomfortable. I go there. I have the hard conversations, not just in my business, as her book suggests, but in my life. I stop myself from yelling, ask my husband to go for a walk so that we can talk out of earshot of the kids, and I call a family meeting to calmly address whatever we are struggling with. Make no mistake, it is still messy and uncomfortable. Just today, during our family meeting, Samuel sat for about 3 minutes before leaving the conversation to go climb on a Ninja Warrior jungle gym, and Ziva stormed off yelling, "Meeting is adjourned," when we got to the undesirable part of discussing chores, personal responsibility, and pitching in. But Ahava, Nathan, and I stayed, and we worked on some very important, very difficult things. We gave each other attention and respect, and we gave ourselves grace. We did the hard work when it was easier to run away or sweep it under the rug. We went there, and I think we are better for it. We set an example for the rest of the family, who eventually also came around, apologized, and had follow-up conversations. We worked through it as a family in our own messy ways. And by the end of the day, we were laughing our heads off together, playing Scattergories Jr., and then snuggling and laughing some more around a magical roaring campfire. In just 24 hours, we rode a wild roller coaster of emotions and came out better for it as a family. These are skills that we aren't born with. These are skills that we fought for and which are hard won. For our family, they are the product of learning, leaning in, and doing the hard work it takes to live on a sailing catamaran with my family. And that was a very brief chapter 24, Conflict in Close Quarters. I'm laughing because I'm in close quarters again. Now we're living in this tight space. I feel like it's a bigger boat than Dawn Treader, but it feels smaller in many ways. We don't have a sail. This is a motor cat. It's a Fontaine Peugeot. It's a great boat, but the fact that we're having engine problems and the AC is broken and we've been kind of stuck in one spot for a while makes it challenging. But I'm really impressed with how we are navigating it as a family. I wanted to share one more thing for anyone that's watching. I'm really excited. One of the things I've been really focusing on is keeping my writing going. And I just today wrote the end on my novel that I've been working on. It's the rough draft, or the first draft. But this is a book that was a screenplay that I wrote back in 2000. Let me see, when was it? 2001. And it made the top 5 of the New York International Latino Film Festival. I just converted it to a novel, which was a much bigger job than I expected. It's a thriller. It's one in a trilogy, which will be coming out later this year. So if you're interested in following my journey on that, or our journey here on the boat, please check out my Substack, which I will be updating again soon. I just needed to stabilize with our arrival on the boat. But in the next few weeks, I'll be sharing a lot more updates there. That is my name, rosalindaroman.substack.com. Thank you so much for checking out my live stream. And again, I'm sorry I was late. Take care, and I love you guys.